So the best I can tell, it doesn't look like there was any catastrophic events or major runners either when I did my airport run this afternoon. Um, Let me put this up real quick. But some nice stuff in chat this morning. By the way, pause the video and go back to that if you haven't read that. Most of you have. Okay. Let's go back to SPY. So the SPY, very, very narrow range today, very low volume. Looks like a pretty boring day overall. This is going to look funny, but SRFM, that's an ugly chart. But I gave the idea over 450 this morning, and it went to 557. So that's a nice trade. It looks like they did an offering. Best I can tell is why it got decimated. But still, a really nice trade. It was $1.07 in our favor with about 25 cents risk. I also mentioned SRM over 8, and I can show you what it looked like. It hit 8 to the penny right there. And when it was coming back, I said, hey, later in the day, if this breaks 8, that could be a good trade. And then the beauty of the chat room is Ramesh gave the heads up right before it got to 8. So, my idea coupled with the teamwork had a really nice move, right? Really nice trade there. The risk was only about 20 cents. And then MP, another one that was on the bounce play list. So I think I'd mentioned over the mic if it broke this early high right here, which was 34.90. That's the bounce play trigger. And that's another scenario where I gave the idea out. And then Sahil is the one that said, hey, it's getting close, right? So we usually have somebody give a heads up if something's getting close. And I love that about the room. So nice heads up today by Ramesh and Sahil. And this from 34.91. Before it came back down to the entry, it went to 35.71-ish, right? 35.72. So it was over 80 cents on about 35 cents risk. Nothing huge today, but still some good stuff. And I'll tell you what, looking at charts, I didn't really fall in love with much going into tomorrow, but we'll see, right? MP, I'm just going to go ahead and have that on long watch because it's one of the rare earths that probably the strongest one. Then you got a few days lower, and now today we turned at the 8-day. So that could be a potential long tomorrow. SRM I like a lot. It's kind of the same thing. Really strong stock, pulled back to the 8-day and put in a nice solid day today. Could have a continuation day tomorrow. TIGR, nice breakout today. Could have a continuation. Same thing with BMBL. Could have a second day play there. RITR, also similar. POET, breaking out, could have a follow through day. NCPL is a lower price, a lower volume stock, but that thing just keeps finding buyers. So that I'm going to put that on watch. SYM is certainly a big mover back here, pulled back for 3 days. I should have had it on bounce watch, and I just didn't see it when I was doing my scans last night. But it did give a nice bounce, and maybe it's headed back up to test the recent highs. Very strong stock. ULY closed about where it opened, but big volume. I think that's worth keeping on watch tomorrow. CRML, another rare earth play. I like the looks of the way this chart's forming at this pop, curling, and starting to push back up. A little extra volume today too. So probably my favorite looking chart tomorrow. Where else am I? SYM. I feel like I already did that. I think I have that on the list twice maybe. CRCL. Crazy move from 64 low. You can tell it hasn't been trading that long, all the way to 298.99. I'm going to round that up and say all the way up to 299. Now you got a couple days lower into the 8-day. I don't know if it should be priced as high as it is. I honestly don't know anything about it, but that's a good candidate for a rip back higher one of these days. I'm going to start watching it as a bounce play tomorrow. LFMD, also on bounce watch, had a really, really nice move, and now you got 4 red days in a row right down into the 20-day and some support with this consolidation to the left. Could be a bounce play tomorrow. QSG also had a really big move, and now you got a partial retracement, maybe a little bit of a bottoming tail. That one also goes on bounce watch. And HOVR also on bounce watch. Really strong stock, 4 days in a row down into that area between the 8 and the 20. So not really in love with these, but hopefully we'll find a nice juicy gapper in the morning to add to this list. And I expect we'll have some good trades tomorrow, right? That's it for me. I'll see you guys in the pre-market.